and welcome back to A Current Household. We are here with the Millmans, and oh my gosh. And I'm just here to kind of inform you guys about just a few of the houses. I don't have an update that I can do on all of the houses, so I'm actually going to just be doing like 3 or 4 of the houses, and then I'll have to do the other ones in another update hopefully soon. Okay, so I need to have him take a vacation day. Alright, so in the last episode that you guys had seen, you guys know that Derek was not an elder. Well, since then, Derek has actually aged up. He is a elder now, and I'm really sad because like he's my first sim ever. And I know that I play these guys on a long lifespan. You guys are probably like, oh my god, girl, like let him go. But like to me, he's like my stone for the Millmans. You know what I mean? Like without him, like the Millmans wouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just like bittersweet. But anyways, since then, Derek has every day he works, he takes a vacation day, and he has about another 20, I think. I'm going to talk to him. He has 20 more days, so hopefully he'll be able to do that. And then once he's done with those 20 days, I'm going to let him retire. He won't actually be working. He'll just, get his pension and so on and so forth. He does continue to do, like, the space missions and things. And that's pretty much about it. He's already maxed out charisma, cooking, dancing, fitness, handiness, and rocket science. And as you know, my current household, they have one skill that they have to max, one aspiration that they have to complete, one job that they must complete, and one collection. So Derek's collection was the space rocks, I believe. Is his collection the space rocks? I believe it's the space rocks. I can't say for 100% it is, but I believe it is. And he's got quite a bit of the aliens and stuff when he was going. But the one thing he's going to be able to give to his family is that, he's given them a great life. He's really, really worked hard in his life. And so he's been able to give them a great life. Now, he is going to kind of leave Cheryl behind because she's still younger than him by quite a little. So that's something that's kind of sad to like see happen, but I mean, one of them has to go first, you know what I'm saying? So one of them is going to get left behind. I mean, I guess they could both pass away at the same time, but I just don't foresee that happening. So he's given them a great life. He feels like, he's done well for himself and for his family. He is, leaving behind a ton of kids and grandkids, but hopefully his time's not too soon. Hopefully he'll still get to see a little bit more into the family life and get to see what's going on with them and just kind of like be himself. And he's really just kind of relaxed since he's gotten out of having to work all the time now, because his job was so stressful. Like he always had to do missions. Like when he came home, it was like he still had to work. And sometimes those missions take quite a little time. So he missed out on quite a lot of the kids' lives, but he's been there for them now, and he's making sure to like, spend time with each and every one of them before like anything goes wrong, because he doesn't want to feel like, he didn't give one of his kids the most attention that he could have given them. And he is so happy with Cheryl. Like he still loves her to pieces. And Cheryl still loves him back the same way. Like they just click. I don't know. I don't really understand. I can't really explain it to you, but they just click. Even knowing they're like almost complete opposites, because she's good and he's evil, but it works. It works for them and they're happy. So that's pretty much what he's been spending his time doing, is just hanging out with the kids, spending time with Cheryl, raising Damien, or Damon, I mean, and just taking his vacation days. He doesn't want to not use them because like he worked hard to get them, you know what I mean? So like what's the point if he can't use them now? Like what was the point of getting them in the first place? I almost said heartfelt. I don't know, because I was reading heartfelt compliment. Um, but anyways, so him and Cheryl, you know, they're just really enjoying each other, and they go out on like date nights and stuff now. But so Cheryl has been a very busy bee. She worked really hard since the last episode to figure out what had happened to her oldest son Daniel, um, and you know she couldn't just let it rest. She needed to know. She needed to know what happened, and she definitely got some answers, and she's happy with her answers, but she's unhappy with them as well. She sees that some of her kids are struggling, and it really scares her because she knows that, you know, not only is it almost Derek's time, but it's almost her time. And, like, what are her kids going to do without her when she's not around anymore? Like, how are they going to cope without her? And she really is having a hard time to deal with something like that. Like, it's just not her thing. She doesn't deal well with it. She doesn't want to think about like her kids not having her for if they need her, or like, you know, because everything that went down with Daniel, like, you guys don't know what happened yet, but like I'm just saying, we'll get into that in a second, but it's just the point that like he was missing, and you know, if it wasn't for her, would he even have been able to, you know, would this mystery have ever been solved? Because the police obviously weren't doing anything for the family. They weren't looking into the missing case. They honestly didn't care really that he was missing. And she doesn't understand why, because he was missing for years. But after years of looking for him and years of looking for him, Cheryl finally found him. She found him, and she's so happy that she did, though she's sad of the way that she found him. And so she's really struggling to cope with like what happened to him, and she doesn't have the full story, you know what I mean? She doesn't know all the details because she's too scared to bring it up, you know what I mean, with anyone, because it's a very touchy subject, and she doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So she just kind of keeps to herself about it, though it does really, really bother her that, you know, she doesn't know the full story, and she wants to know. She does, but she just doesn't feel like it's the right time to bring it up to anyone. So she just kind of keeps quiet about it. And, you know, she doesn't want to burden Derek with it because, you know, he's already stressed about it enough. And, you know, how he felt about, you know, he couldn't protect his own son because, you know, he's old enough to be out on his own. But Derek never thought anything like that would happen to his own kids. And so that kind of, like, scares him a lot. But, so that's pretty much what they've been doing. So, like I said, Cheryl's been busy. She's a stay-at-home mom again because she's got to raise Damon. And, you know, she enjoys having a toddler in the house again just because it's been so very, very, very long that it's been that she's had a child in the house. And so she just enjoys it a lot. And since he's so clingy, because that's his trait, he always wants to be with Cheryl. Like, they're like two peas in a pod. They don't go anywhere without each other, pretty much. If they're at the house, he checks in with her. She checks in with him very, very often. And so, you know, it's something that they have to do. And she also enjoys having a child in the house still because, you know, she can do those things with him as well. Cheryl is just a very, very, very big family person, and without her family, she'd be very lost. Alright, so I'm so sorry about that. I had a phone call. It was a really important one. Anyways, so as I was saying, Cheryl is just really happy to have kids in the house because she was really scared when they got older that like their kids would be aged up, but it ended up being that the last two are much younger than the others just because that's their thing. So anyways, recently Dale has aged up to a young adult, and he still like really wants to, you know, excel in life and be with Kelly. He still really, really likes her, but she is so set in her ways of like, you know, being with the person that she's with already that she doesn't even acknowledge that he likes her. And I don't know if it's like her way of coping with it or whatever, but she doesn't give him any time of day. Like, he legit has told her multiple times that, like, you know, he likes her, and she'll flirt with him, but it never goes anywhere. And if he tries to like make a move on her, she rejects him. So I think he's kind of getting to the point where he recognizes that, it's not going to work out, you know what I'm saying? And he's going to have to move on. And I think it scares him at the same time because, like, he knows how much he really cares for her. And, like, he's scared, like, how am I ever going to find anyone else that I care for so very, very much? Um, but I don't know. I don't know if he will ever, find someone else or if he'll just continue on the life that, of pretty much pining for someone who doesn't want to be with him as well. So, um, that's kind of that. That's about it. Like, he doesn't really have much else going on. He has joined the bodybuilder career or the athlete career, and he's working hard in that. He's already at a level 5, so he really, really, really is working hard at, achieving something. He really wants to make his father proud, and do really well and make a good life for, them, especially after his dad is gone. Like, that's their main income, you know what I'm saying? He wants to be able to kind of foot the bills for his mom, you know what I mean? Because she's going to be getting older, and she's not obviously working. She doesn't obviously have anything going down that she's doing. So he kind of is trying to, like, make them really, really proud. But I don't know. I don't know if he'll make it big or if, his love life will kind of get in the way of everything. But he is obviously at some point probably going to be the one taking over the house for a little while until everyone else can get their jobs set up and everything. At this point, they're so young. They don't even have those kinds of things. I mean, they've still got to go through their teen and, all that other stuff. So they don't really have anything going down for them. But he just kind of works out and, hangs out with his buddies. Sometimes he goes out to the bar. He has a couple friends he goes to the bar with. And, they just, talk and stuff. But they don't really they don't really, like, hang out enough for it to be anything, really. So that's kind of that. And he's got the gym upstairs that he uses, which used to be his dad's gym. His dad doesn't really use it anymore, but he used to. And he just works out at home, goes out with his buddies every once in a while to get away from, like, his mom and his dad. Honestly, every kid wants that time away from their parents, and so that's what he does. And he sometimes goes out with Kelly and tries to, like, make it work, but she's so set on her relationship that she's in that, like, she doesn't have time for him. She honestly doesn't. It's kind of sad, but she doesn't. Anyways, Dustin is still in school. Obviously, you saw he came home from school and did his homework. He is doing actually really well in school, just like the rest of his siblings. He is working on all of his skills, which, honestly, I don't know how far along he is in his skills. Let's look. He's max creativity and mental. He's got a max, he's actually maxed motor and social as well. So he's done, actually, with his skills. The only thing he's really working on are these things. Now, the way I'm going to do it is if the child has the good trait, they all need to be maxed green. And if a child has the evil trait, they all need to be maxed red. And if they don't have one or the other, then they can max them either or. Like, they can swap, like, whichever ones they want. So right now, because he's a good child, he needs to be maxing out all of these different things. So we are going to be working on that for him as well. And he definitely follows in his mom's footsteps with the good trait because that's her thing. But he's only got like a week left before he ages up to a teen. So I mean, he's still got time, but not a lot. You know what I mean? He's kind of got to move a little bit forward with that. But anyways, so that's what he's working on, and he just kind of like plays with his little brother. They play on the floor together or at the dollhouse together or whatever. And he really enjoys having a younger sibling. You know, he enjoyed being the youngest for a while, but now that he's got other kids around that he can kind of, you know, hang out with and do things with, he enjoys like having his little brother look up to him. And I think that's something that's really cool that they're going to bond over for a very long time. I mean, they were pretty young or pretty close in age for a very long time, so that'll be great. Then we have Mr. Crybaby over here right now. We're going to actually get Cheryl to feed him. So Damon is a toddler now. He has already maxed out all of his skills. His communication, imagination, movement, potty, and thinking are all maxed out, which is awesome. And he's just really a mama's boy. He really, really is. I mean, you'll get where times where Derek and Damon will spend times together. They'll do things together. But if he gets the choice of who's gonna do stuff with him, he will definitely go to Mama Bear first. Like, that is his thing. He just, I don't know, he just does it. It's kind of weird because I honestly thought that I honestly thought he was gonna be more of like a daddy's boy, but he's really not. He isn't. I can't explain it to you. It's really odd, but he's very, very clingy. And when it comes to him being clingy, he's very, very clingy with mommy. Like, that's just how it is. But anyways, so they, you know, they work on taking care of him together, obviously. They don't make one or the other take care of him. It's a thing, like, they do together. And so, I don't know. I just think it's pretty cool. I do. They're just like a very good parenting couple, I guess, when it comes to kids. I mean, with all the experience that they have, I can kind of understand it because obviously they've had a lot. But I'm just saying, like, they're like the freaking cutest family in the entire world. So, I don't know. Anyways, so she's just giving him some chicken nuggets, and he's spent a lot of time with mommy to learn all these. He really, really did. And like I said, he has a great relationship with mom and dad. He is getting tired, so he does need to eat quickly so that he can go to bed. But just like if you look at them when they look at him, like they look at him with so much love and compassion, and it's just the sweetest thing. It really is. In my opinion, like, this family is so sweet to one another, and it blows my mind. Like, just look at how they look at each other, and you can see the amount of love. Like, look at her love! You could totally read it off her face. And they just really enjoy having a baby in the family. And with not having so many kids at the table, they were able to put his high chair right up to the table, so, you know, he's, like, part of the family when they're eating and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. And so that's what he works on. That's what he does. And he loves all of his siblings. Like, when they come over here, he always, like, runs to to talk to them and stuff. It's so freaking cute. It, like, blows my mind how freaking cute it really is. But I just think it's, like, one of the cutest things. Anyways, so they're trying to raise him to be, like, a really, really good kid, like the rest of their kids. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because, you know, we don't know the traits and stuff that he's going to be getting. But he does really, really like Cheryl a lot. Like, he gets really upset if she's not around and stuff, and so it's just really cute. And I really love the toddlers. I have to say, it's probably one of my favorite things so far. Anyways, let's go ahead and get Cheryl to potty train, or put him to bed, because he's really tired. So go ahead and read him to sleep, and stop talking with Derek. Sorry, Derek. Got things we gotta do. But anyways, that's pretty much what's happening with these guys. Not too much. I mean, it's just pretty much raising their kids. Cheryl did have a little bit of adventure there, and Derek is still on the elder phase of, you know, trying to settle everything before everything else is done. But that's pretty much it. That's not even, why don't you eat the rest of the chicken nuggets? I mean, who wouldn't want some chicken nuggets? Anyways, so let me jump over to what is he doing? Cheryl, read the child to sleep. So as Cheryl reads poor Damon to sleep, we're going to jump over to Daniel's household, which is with Hannah and all the kids. So let's go ahead and do that now. Go to manage worlds. So if you haven't figured it out, Daniel has been found, or if you didn't hear it. And there is some differences with him. He wasn't found dead, so don't worry. He's alive, but there are a lot of changes in his life that are going down, and he doesn't really know how to cope with them, and that's a problem. So he's living back here at his original house with his kids and Hannah, but there's a lot of differences that have happened since then that are very hard for him to accept and to understand why. So once we get in here, I can explain a little bit more, and you'll probably kind of get it. if this ever loads. I think after this, all I have is Casey's households and um, what's his face? Okay. Okay. Alright, so here is, oh my gosh. Do we want emotional control or we want conflict? Oh my gosh. Yeah, maybe they, first one, no wait, wait for them to respond. Okay, so this is Daniel. He has definitely gained some weight. So what happened with Daniel was he was actually abducted by Layla. She was a girl who he went to school with, and she always had like a thing for him, and it ended up being that she really liked him, and they had met at a bar again, and she was there. She really tried to like seduce him. He tried to tell her like, no thank you, you know what I mean, like I've got a wife and kids, and ended up being that she slipped him something in his drink and abducted him and kept him hostage in her basement. So he was literally locked in a basement forever, and like couldn't get home because of the fact that he was stuck there. And the way that they were found was Casey actually went to the same bar later on, a few years later, and Layla was there, and she slipped and started talking about Daniel, and not realizing that Casey was his sister. Casey put two and two together, and so she made friends with Layla to like figure out what was going on, and ended up being that Layla invited her over, and Casey got really investigative and found him in the basement and called Cheryl to come and get Daniel because he was acting really funny. So she had kept him drugged, and he was happy there because he was drugged. Like, he was happy with Layla, and he honestly thought that was his wife. And there is a child in the midst that Layla claims to be Daniel's. Daniel doesn't know if it's his or not, because of the fact that, you know, he was drugged the whole time. He doesn't know if they did things together, you know what I mean? So he's not really sure, and a lot of that time frame is gone for him. So it's literally like waking up one day and thinking it's the next day, and it's actually like 3-4 years later. So he's a little bit confused about how everything has went down with his family, because a lot of the changes, like I said, have really happened quickly for him, and it's been very hard for him to accept the fact that things are changing and like they may never be the same because of everything that's happened. So there is a possible another Millman out there, and Layla's last name, she goes by the last name of Millman, so he doesn't know if he married her and it was like a marriage that isn't real for the fact that like he was already married, or like what's going on. So that's something that's been happening with him, and you know, he's just trying to figure out things, figure out what's happened, why he's, you know, in this thing together like by himself right now. And the worst thing is that he came back and Hannah's in love with another man. So, you know, he still feels like it was just yesterday that they were together, and he loves her the same as he did then, but she's completely in love with someone else because it's 3-4 years later. And so, you know, he was like, listen, I can't afford to live on my own. Like, I don't have money. I gave you guys all my money before I left. Like, what do you expect me to do? Where do you expect me to live? And so Hannah decided that it might be best if, you know, for right now, he lives here, but they don't have another room. So what they did was they built that room out back for him so that he could live, you know, he could live here and be with the kids, but he wouldn't actually be living in the same house as her, and it would kind of give them a little distance. ever since he's come back, Hannah's having the struggles of like those feels that she always had for Daniel. She always knew Daniel was going to be her one true love, and like that never was like a question with her. It's the problem now that she's got feelings for someone else, and she's got 2 kids with that guy. She has twins with the new guy. So she's really struggling to be like, you know, choose between them kind of thing. Like, you'll find her some days flirting with Daniel, and then the next day she'll be flirting with Frank. And it's really hard for her to decide, like, who she's going to stick with, because, like, she has multiple kids with both. It's not just like, it's like, oh, well, this is just a quick fling. We got pregnant really quickly. You know, it's been 3 years since Daniel's been gone. It's been years of this relationship. You know what I mean? She didn't get a divorce because, honestly, she didn't think that he was alive anymore. She figured if he was alive, he would call her. She never thought something like what happened would have happened. And so it's very, very hard for her, and she feels horrible. She feels like a horrible person for moving on and letting herself move on. But, you know, she honestly, wholeheartedly didn't believe he was coming back. And so that's like something that she deals with every day. Like, how could I let myself move on from the one person that I love with my whole heart? You know what I mean? And now I'm breaking his heart because I've moved on. So I don't know if Hannah and Daniel will be together till the end, or if they'll have to move on and, you know, be with other people. I can't honestly tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with her. I don't know how things are going to go down with her. But all I know is that she really does love Frank. Now, Frank has a bit of a twist in this story, because Frank knew that Hannah was married when he got with her. Again, he is a college friend of Hannah's. Well, not again, but he's a college friend of Hannah's. And he knew about her husband missing, but he always had that crush on her in high school or college. And so instead of, like, you know, letting her deal with her stuff and, like, whatever she had to do, like, you know what I mean? He advanced. He was the one who made the advances at her. So he's the one who kind of broke up the marriage in an aspect, because if he hadn't made the advances, Hannah wouldn't have. She never thought of Frank in that way until he started really, really flirting with her. And so he was having a lot of financial difficulties before he met back up with Hannah. And he knew Hannah was rich, so he kind of advanced quicker than, you know, he probably would have otherwise, because he wanted Hannah's money. He wanted to be able to pay his bills. He wanted to be able to afford the living that he was trying to live. But the thing is Hannah's not willing to divorce her husband yet. And so he doesn't have his hands on any of that money. So he's got these people, like, after him for this money, and he can't even pay them because he doesn't have his hands on the money, because Hannah refuses to divorce Daniel right now. Because, like I said, she's still got those feels. And obviously she doesn't know about, like, his situation. She doesn't know that he's in debt. You know what I'm saying? So she doesn't know, so there's no way for her to know, like, he's doing this to get her at her money. I don't know if he loves her now, but he definitely didn't at the beginning. He definitely wasn't in love with her. He did it more for the money aspect. I kind of feel like he does have feelings for her now. Like, he kind of likes her more than he did then. But it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to, like, figure that out. So I don't know if she'll actually divorce Daniel and, you know, their relationship will continue strong, or what's going to happen. But I think that if she does go for that aspect, I think that she's going to find that she's going to be in a lot of financial problems, because he brings a lot of debt with him. And I don't know what kind of debt it is, but I just know that there's people after him for the money that he owes. Alright, so then we have Hazel, and Hazel is now a teen. She's working hard at her school. She's already got an A. And she's following in her mom's footsteps with the gardening. And she kind of has a couple of people that she's interested in at school, but she hasn't, like, made any advances yet. She knows that her family has a lot of issues right now, and so she finds it best to kind of keep the drama to a low minimum. She doesn't want to bring anything more into the picture if she doesn't have to. So she just kind of like chills at home with mom, helps mom with the kids. Every once in a while, you'll see Hannah or Hazel go out and enjoy herself. But she really, really, really is trying to like persuade her mom to go back with her dad, just for the fact that she doesn't like Frank and she does never has. I don't know if Hannah has like a sixth sense or something, but she has that like that feeling that he's no good. And and she sees the way that he treats her mom and Frank has a very bad temper. Like he literally flies off the handle about stupid things. And so it makes her mad because that's her mom, you know what I'm saying? And she doesn't want to see her mom be upset or anything. And there's more times with Frank that she's been really, really upset and crying in front of her kids than she's ever been. And that's something Hannah knows as well. Like, she knows it deep down in her mind that, like, Frank doesn't make her as happy as Daniel did, but she's happy with him. It's kind of hard to explain, but, like, she knows that, like, her and Daniel are happy. She knows that her and Frank are happy, but she knows that, Daniel never treated her the way Frank did, but she's already got those feelings for Frank now. So, like, how can she, like, turn her back on him when she just brought him into the family kind of thing? Then we have the boys, Darian and Dominic. They hate their mom. They really do. They're really mad at her. They're mad that she would do something like she did to their dad, and move on. They don't like it. They don't want to hear it. They legit are backing their dad 100%. If they could, if Daniel and Hannah split, they already told their mom they're moving out. They're going to go live with dad. Like, they don't even want to come to visit. Like, that's how angry they really, really are. I don't know if it's because of the fact that they loved their father so much before he went missing, and now he's back, and it's like, it's hard for them to understand why wouldn't you want to be with dad, you know what I'm saying? So they're really having a hard time coping with the fact that, like, mom and dad aren't together, and it's making them kind of hate Hannah because they don't want to hear it. But Hazel's kind of on the other side. Like, she's angry at her dad. Like, the kids don't know the whole situation or why he went missing. They just know that he's back. So Hazel's kind of angry, like, why would you leave mom, like, in that aspect? I mean, she doesn't hate him, but she does struggle with the fact of, like, why would you do something like that to someone that you love? And so she struggles with trying to, like, back up her dad, but she's, like, had to back up her mom and be there so much for her mom when her dad was missing that, like, she kind of, like, feels like she needs to continue sticking with her mom, even knowing she doesn't think that her mom being with Frank is, like, the best idea. So she doesn't want to, like, let on that she doesn't like her dad. She doesn't want to let on that she's angry with her mom for not being with her dad, but she just wants them to be back together, and she wants things to go back to the way they were. That's the big thing. Like, the kids want it to be like it was, and I don't know if it'll ever be the same, but they really, really, really want it to be the same. They want it to be mom and dad, and Frank kind of go away. And Frank is not even a handy person. Like, he won't fix the sinks or anything. He will legit just, like, he'll call a repair technician for it unless Daniel does it. So, because Daniel's at work, we're going to have him go ahead and hire a repair service because he will not fix things. But, so that's his thing. And I don't know if Frank has other ulterior motives or if there's something else that he's hiding, but he's definitely keeping that a secret from Hannah. And if Hannah found out, I know it would break them up, like she wouldn't be with him. But will she ever find out until it's too late? I don't know. I honestly can't tell you. I don't know when she'll find out. I don't know how she'll find out. But I know that hopefully someday she'll wake up and, like, recognize that, Frank isn't the person that he seems to be. But sometimes when you're that close to somebody and you have those feelings for somebody, it is very, very, very hard to recognize that that person is not the best for you. And it's very, very hard for her to recognize, like, that he brings her down. You know what I mean? He makes her feel worse about herself. He doesn't treat her as good. Like, it's very, very hard for her to notice that because she's so blinded by the feelings that she has for him. And that's where a little bit of distance would make things a lot clearer for her. If she could get distance from him, which Daniel knows, and Cheryl keeps telling Daniel, you know, take her out, take your family out on a vacation. Tell her that you want it to just be you guys, and then leave the babies at home. You know what I mean? Just get some distance from him. Um, um, you know, get some distance, get her to get some distance from him, and she'll see it. But, you know, Daniel's not that kind of person. He wants to kind of like let it play out, but I think he's getting to the point where he notices that she's kind of leaning more towards Frank just for the fact that they're together right now, and kind of pushing him away, and I think it kind of scares him more. So he might ask her to go on a vacation soon and see if things kind of spark up with the two of them. I don't know how Frank would take it. I bet you he would flip out, but I think Hannah would probably go if he offered to just take like the 3 kids and her. I think that it would work out. I think it would. I mean, maybe even just a camping trip, you know what I'm saying? Just for like a weekend or something. But anyways, that's pretty much their family story. And it's going to be interesting to see if Daniel actually does have another kid with Layla, or if it's all like a full story. And it'll be interesting to see how Hannah wakes up and kind of smells the coffee that Frank is no good for her, and that he's pretty much trying to use her, and she just doesn't recognize it. Alright, so moving on, we are going to go to Dre's household next. Now, it's just Dre, Nolan, and Star still. No new babies or anything. But it might be in the works. I don't know. We'll have to go see what's going on with them. Anyways, so, where do they live? They live here. I have to remember because there are so many of them, let's be honest. Right, here's their house. So, Dre and Nolan built this house that they live in now for themselves before they got married. And they lived here for a little bit before they got married as well. And then they brought Star into the picture, and she's their whole world. Like, legit, they would, like, kill someone for her. No lie. But now they're just, like, at the point where they're a very wealthy family. More wealthy than Derek and Cheryl are. Way more than Derek and Cheryl have ever been. And so they're at the point where they're just like, you know, what are we going to do with our newfound freedom? You know, our expenses. Do we want to adopt another child and give them the life that we've given Star? Or do we want to buy a vacation home? And like have a second home and be able to travel and do things. I mean, Star is already a child, you know what I'm saying? So if they brought a baby, say, into it, that would take a lot of their time, and it would give them something to kind of work on. But I mean, they don't really know if they want to raise another child. Like, they're happy with just Star. So they don't know if they actually want another kid. Dre has said, like, what about carrying on the last name? Because obviously, yeah, Star has the last name right now. But, like, what about when she ages up and gets married? What if she doesn't carry on that name? Like, what would you want to have a boy? And Nolan is kind of on the fence. Like, I mean, I do, but I don't. I don't know. Like, he doesn't really, honestly, truly know if he wants another kid. But he does want his name to be carried on. And so, you know, he has to kind of figure that out. Now, Nolan, if we look at his family tree, he does have a father and a sister who are very old. And he's very scared that they're going to pass on. I don't honestly understand how his sister and his father are, like, the same age, because that's kind of weird. But anyways, but his sister has a bunch of kids. So, you know, she obviously doesn't carry the same last name anymore, so they don't even have the same last names. But it kind of scares him, like, you know, my dad's legacy is going to die out, and he's always been really close with his father, so he doesn't want to be like, well, you know, whatever, we'll just have to figure it out later on. So I think he's kind of leaning towards the whole, yeah, we'll have one more kid, maybe just a boy. But I don't know if it's gonna be a child, teen, baby. I don't really know what they're gonna go for. Um, and that's kind of an issue because I think he's leaning more towards an older child. Just because when Nolan was younger, um, nobody knows it about him really, but Nolan was put into a foster home for a while. After, when he was about 2, his mom passed away. And, and so his dad wasn't in the picture at the time. And he actually didn't know, they didn't even have it on record who his father was. So it was really hard for Nolan to accept the fact that you know, he has been in a foster home as a teen and he knows how it feels. And so like he feels how they feel, and he wasn't in there like forever, you know what I'm saying? He was in there for a certain amount of time, and then he was found by his father. But it's still the point, like, oh my god, honestly, like, I could give a boy in the same situation that I've been in before, I could give him a good life. But he also struggles with, do I really want to put myself in those shoes, like to have to raise another kid? Now Dre's open to it because he comes from a big family, and you know, he had a very, very loving family as a child and everything else, so it doesn't bother him to have to raise another kid. Like, he would raise 10 kids if Dre wanted, or Nolan wanted to. But it's up to Nolan, and Nolan's on the fence about it, and so they kind of tower back and forth. Now, Nolan is getting older, so if he wants to do it, he's going to need to do it soon. It's not going to be something he can just wait forever to do. It is going to have to be something that they figure out and do pretty soon, and he knows that. He knows that, you know, he's getting older as the day goes, and so he doesn't have a whole bunch of time to raise kids, but he doesn't know how many kids he actually wants to raise. And right now he's just happy with Sar, and so Dre just lets it go. He doesn't bring it up all the time, even though he kind of wants to have like another child, and to like move out of this smaller house into a nicer house, which he knows that they can absolutely afford. And so that's kind of what he's trying to like kind of get to happen. But right now they're just so set in their ways. Nolan is so set with just living here with just these two, just Sar and Dre, and so they don't really get to do much. Now they do go out every week. They have a nanny come over to watch their daughter, and they go out and have like a man's night. They go out to like the Knights Club or Knights Bar night or whatever it is, and they have a good time at that. And you know, they go out and go to like parties sometimes and things, so they do get out quite often. But the whole struggle between them is, do we want more kids or not, pretty much. And then we have Miss Star, the wonderful Miss Star, the beautiful girl. She is doing really well in school as well. She's an A student. She has finished creativity, motor, and social skills. She's just finishing up the mental. But she still has another 26 days before she ages, so she has plenty of time to do it. So she's definitely spending time on that. She's already maxed out her responsibility. And like I said, because she's like on the fence back and forth, like she doesn't have the good or the evil trait. She can pick whatever she wants. She is a picky eater right now. She's in that phase, so you know, they're having a hard time getting her to eat anything because that's just how she is. But so that's kind of what they've been working on with her. And that's pretty much what she does. I'm going to have her do some extra credit because that's actually the mental skill now. But that's pretty much what they do, and she loves her parents. They like built this science project together with her, which she thought was amazing. Like that they would sit down and work on it with her. And you know, they do everything with her. They take her out to the park every week, multiple times, most of the time. It's never really like they spend the time doing things by themselves and don't really incorporate her. They take her out all the time. They go out to the park. They go, you know, out to eat, and all that good stuff. So they really, really put a lot into her. You know, they put a lot of their time into being with her and spending time together as a family. And they have been talking about maybe taking a vacation for a little while, just to kind of clear their heads and, you know, whatever. But so that's pretty much all that's going on with these guys. Not too much is going on. They've got things going down. I mean, their house is the same. Their story is pretty much the same. They're just in love, trying to figure out how many kids they pretty much want to raise. It's pretty much it with them. So the last household I'm going to show you today, and this episode is going to be really long, and I do apologize. The last household I'm going to show you today is Casey. Casey actually has since moved to San Myshuno. She needed to get away from where they were living before for the fact that there was a lot of rumors going around about Thomas and about what was going to be what was going to be happening, like what was going on with him. The rumors, ever since she moved to San Myshuno, it's like they have a new beginning. But she has heard a few rumors kind of sparking up here and there, and it scares her that, you know, something is going to happen. So she's kind of prepared herself that, you know, something could happen soon, even knowing she doesn't want it to happen. You know, it's not something she can control. It's something that, you know, she's just going to have to let go. And so it does scare her. And with the amount of anxiety, I guess, that Thomas is going through, he's definitely been eating quite a lot more. And, or James, his last name is Thomas. Jeez, I don't know why I said Thomas. I'm sorry. But since it's been very stressful for him, like living in this new place, trying to keep it quiet about whatever happened, you know, in the old town, he's very, very scared something is going to happen. And he honestly, he hasn't shared the whole story still with Casey. Like, Casey knows bits and pieces of it, but he doesn't know, she doesn't know the whole story. And he can't tell her because of the fact that, like, you know, he needs to be able to keep his family safe, and the only way to keep his family safe is for them not to know. So he carries the burden of what happened back there. And, like, Casey doesn't care. She would never rat on her husband. She would never do it. But he doesn't want to put her in that place where they could question her. Like, they could still question her, but if she doesn't know, she doesn't know. She can't, you know what I mean? She can't be lying and get arrested for it or anything. Like, legit, if she doesn't know, she doesn't know. Like, that's just how it goes. And so he doesn't want her to know. He doesn't think it's a good idea. He thinks that it would be a really bad idea to let her know for that fact. Once it all blows over, he'll let her know everything that's happened. But until then, he can't. Like, he just can't. And so that's something that, you know, he has to carry that burden himself. And that's something, like, when you're married, you should be able to let each other carry the burden for you or help you carry the burden. But in this situation, he cannot let her help because of the fact that, like, what would he do if something bad happened to her because of him? You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't want to feel responsible. He couldn't live with himself if she, say, got arrested or something because of something that he had done, and it's not even her fault. Just for the fact of her knowing and not turning it in, you know, that makes her an accomplice. And so he deals with that burden every day. And now, obviously, we all don't know what happens. We just know that there was rumors that he supposedly killed someone, but we don't know how or why or what these rumors are from, or like, you know, what made these become rumors. Like, we don't know. And we don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's false. We just know that there's something that he doesn't want to tell Casey. That's all we know. It doesn't have to be murder. It doesn't have to be anything, really. There obviously is something, because he's keeping it a secret. And the thing is Casey kind of feels like we're in a marriage. Like, you got to be open and honest with me, but he can't be open and honest with her about this. And so it's kind of driving a wedge slowly in between them, because she feels like, you know, I'm your wife. I have the right to know what's going on. Like, we have a family together. How could you do this? Like, how could you have kids with me and then not want to tell me things that are going on? And in his mind, it's all for the safety of his family, instead of, like, you know, the complete opposite. And so they're really, like, there's been a lot more arguing between the two of them, because of the fact that like, he knows he can't, and she wants him to, and like, so there's been a lot more arguing about it. And the kids, it's starting to affect the kids. It really is. They're starting to hear it at nighttime. Like, when they go to bed, they'll hear mom and dad fighting, and it's not good for them to hear that all the time. You know what I'm saying? So Casey is trying to figure out a way to, like, either cope with it or deal with it. Like, cope with it would be to just forget it and, like, let him tell him in his own time. And to deal with it would be to take the kids and leave, because that's the only other option that she has at this point. Either, you know, she does that, or something bad will happen. So she doesn't really know what to do. She's really having a hard time dealing with it. She's really struggling, like, letting it go. But she also loves him so much, like, she can't imagine leaving. You know what I mean? So she's in that weird thing. And Cheryl says to her all the time, follow your heart and your gut at the same time. Like, your heart might be telling you that you love him, but your gut is telling you that even knowing you love him, it's best that you and the kids get out before it's too late. But she doesn't know what she can do about it, you know what I'm saying, to be able to fix it. So that's something that they're going to have to figure out. They're going to have to spend some time to figure it out. And I don't know if they're going to be able to work it out. I don't know. But I know that James can feel the distance drawing between him and Casey. And he loves her so much that he tries to, like, cling to her and keep her close to him. But all it's doing is making her more angry, because, like, she sees that he wants to be with her. But at the same time, she's angry because he won't speak up and be honest with her. And she doesn't know what it's about. Like, she knows what the rumors are, but she doesn't believe them. You know what I'm saying? So she wants to know what the real truth is. Like if you killed someone, like, I want to know. But, like, if he didn't kill them, you know what I'm saying? And she's pushing, you know, it might not be for the reason that he killed somebody. It might be for the reason that he's protecting someone. You know what I mean? So it might not even be a rumor about him, you know? And so maybe he was like, he promised the person that he wouldn't talk. He wouldn't tell anyone. And now he's got a wife who he loves dearly, and she wants to know the truth, but he promised this person, like, can he really go back and break that promise with them? And I think, honestly, I think that's the issue. I think that he's really struggling with, like, whatever the issue is, whether it be he killed someone or someone else did or whatever. There's an investigation going down, and it's serious. It's a serious investigation. Like, they're seriously trying to find out what happened. And they've already questioned James multiple times about it. So she knows there's an investigation. He knows there's an investigation. But will it end up that he killed the person or whatever happens? I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know if he killed them. I just know that there's an accusation out that he's involved in a murder, and whether it be that, you know, he actually is involved, or if he just knew about it, or something else happened. And the reason that he got kind of drawn into it is because this is a person who, before him and Casey got together, he had married. And so this lady came up missing. And her family had recognized, and they had called it in, and they had found her body. And it was stashed in the woods, so they know it was a murder, but they don't know who murdered her. And they don't, and honestly, we don't even know if Thomas knows, or James. I don't know why I keep calling him Thomas. We don't even know if James knows who murdered the person. You know what I mean? He just probably knows that they were murdered. So there's a very fine line between if he did or if he didn't. And there's also a fine line of between did he know or didn't he. Did he know enough to tell? Like, how old was he when this happened? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know the full story. And before we know the full story, we can't judge. So, honestly, at this point, we just kind of have to wait it out and see what happens. But, James has been confronting Casey that he thinks it would be best if he kind of disappeared for a while, though it would make him look guilty. And Casey says if you're not guilty, then what's the point of leaving? Because if you're not guilty, then you didn't do it, then there's no reason. And he's just, I think, more or less scared that, you know, they're going to try and pin it on him no matter what. And so he just wants to kind of get away so that he can still be there for his family. But she's saying if you're not guilty, there's no reason for you to run. There's no reason for you to get out. There's no reason for you to go away. We need you here now. Like, I need you here to help me raise these kids. We have 4 kids together, and you're going to try and run now? And so it's also another burden that she has to kind of deal with. But I don't know if he did it. Like I said, she doesn't know. He knows the situation. He knows what's going down. He knows what happened to his ex-wife. And that's something that they'll have to deal with. Now, when Casey and James got together in the beginning, he didn't honestly come out that he had already been married. And so that's another burden. Like, she has to deal with the fact that he kind of wasn't open and honest with her from the very start. And so it's kind of hard for her to talk about. But she's kind of gotten past that part of it. She's gotten past the part of, like, he wasn't honest with me from the start. He's been holding secrets. Like, she doesn't want to assume, but at the same time, she doesn't want him to get away with things like that. Like, she wants him to be open and honest with her from the very start. And so she knows that's something that they're obviously going to have to continue to work on. Like, they're going to have to continue to work on all of these issues that they've got going on. And so, and he knows it as well. Like, after it's all said and done, whatever happens, like, she'll honestly get the truth. But right now, he just knows he can't tell her. And the kids, all of the kids, they're just pretty much working on skills. Oh my gosh, they're all so angry because of the lovemaking next door. But Casey kind of hates living here. She kind of regrets moving them to the city, into an apartment from a house. But this house does fit them pretty well. So, I mean, it works, but she hates it at the same time. It was for them to be able to save money, honestly, to be able to build a house. Because they didn't really have a lot of money, and the house that they had built was too small, and they had to sell it, and then it didn't go for the right price, and they needed to get out quickly, so they had to sell for a really cheap price for the fact that they needed to get away for James. And so that's something that they had to deal with, like taking the, you know, the crap end of the deal. But so that's pretty much what they do, and they pretty much just stay here at the house. They don't really go out because of the fact of, you know, they don't want to be seen in public. They don't want James to be seen in public. They want to keep him kind of hidden. So the kids and everything, they're kind of like stuck here all the time. And they hate it, but, you know, Casey once in a while will take them to the park. Just her and the kids, not James. James stays home pretty much unless he goes to work. He's not out. But that's that. Anyways, that is all I've got for you guys today. I am so sorry that I just talked off your ear for over an hour. That is crazy to me. I can't believe it. But it is over an hour. or at least I think it is. Maybe it's close to an hour. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the current household updates. I hope you guys are enjoying this family as much as I am. There is going to be more soon, I promise. And I am getting back into a normal uploading schedule. But I do have surgery coming up soon, so I don't know how that's going to affect me in playing video games. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed this, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and give it a like. And go ahead and share it so that, you know, my YouTube can be a little bit more known. I know a lot of you keep saying, oh, you deserve so many more likes or subscribers or whatever. And I can't say I do. I can't say I don't. But if you guys feel that way, definitely try to help get the word out about my channel. And don't forget to check out my Twitch, because sometimes I do play my current households on my Twitch channel. So if you're interested in seeing that and stuff and other games, we do play a bunch of other games as well. Definitely check it out. And definitely check out all my social media and follow me on Twitter and all that good stuff. And I will talk to you guys in my very next one. Thanks very much for watching.